How to get up to $250,000 in funding for your real estate portfolio. That's the topic for today's episode. And without further ado, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to cover more on credit cards. As you know, real estate can be a great vehicle to achieve financial freedom, but for some of us who are actually getting started, getting the funds can be a little challenging. So rather than focusing on individual credit cards that you get to apply on your own, we're going to focus today more on getting credit cards approved by the bulk, applying for them by the bulk and getting large sums of money approved for you so you can continue to apply that money or use that money actually for the expansion of your real estate portfolio. So we have a great guest in today's episode, and his name is Mike Banks, and he is the Chief Operating Officer of Fund and Grow. And without further ado, I'm going to open up the floor. So we're going to have Mike today in the call. He's actually joining us from Florida via Skype, and let's dive in. So now we have Mike Banks on the call. So Mike, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me today.
As I mentioned, Mike is the Chief Operating Officer for Fund and Grow, and I will actually have him walk us through what the company does and what his role is and how Fund and Grow can actually assist you in your real estate endeavors.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you for having me today. I'm really honored to be here. So the way Fund and Grow works with entrepreneurs, business owners, real estate investors is we set up business credit accounts that they can use for any expense within their business. It could be used for downright purchasing, cash deals. It can be used for marketing expenses. It could be used for rehab costs. I know some landlords even pay their property managers. I think, Lucila, you might even...
I'm actually one of them.
Yeah, you might even use credit for that as well. And we'll dive deeper in, how to do that. How can I use credit to purchase a property? How can I use credit to pay for these expenses that usually you have to pay with cash? So, we talk a lot about that at Fund and Grow, and we teach a lot of our clients exactly how to use these credit lines as cash so they can make purchases on distressed homes, so they could pay contractors who don't accept credit cards. And there's a vendor that we all work with, which is called Plastic. And Plastic will facilitate sending a wire transfer to any vendor. They could send that to a closing company, property manager, contractor, you name it. And the great thing is you can buy a cash deal by sending that wire transfer directly to the closing agent, to the title company. They put the money in escrow and you close on the property very quickly. And we have a lot of clients doing that exact process. I just interviewed a client, Matt Moore, about a month ago, and we had another client who just closed last week with one of our partners who sells turnkey rentals. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. We set up business credit accounts. Within the first 30 days, people usually get between 30,000 to 75,000. Those are just rough numbers. It depends on your credit score. Some people get over 100,000 within the first 30 days, but it just kind of varies depending on your credit score and where you're at with your credit cards and your credit history when you come into the program.
So basically, how would you say the experience is like from the minute they get in touch with Fund and Grow and they sign up their application process? Like, can you walk them through as to what is it that they can expect from the interaction with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So let's say someone goes to one of our sign-up forms and they want more information. So they want to pre-qualify and see how much they can get with the program, basically. So we'll call those people. We'll go over their credit report. If they don't have a credit report, we'll just ask questions about their credit report and get a better idea of their history and the active accounts they have and all that. And then we'll be able to give them a pre-qualification amount that they can expect to receive within the next 30 days. They'll have that funding in hand and they can do whatever they want with it. And then after that initial call, a lot of folks will then decide to move forward and then retain us and retain our services. So we have a membership that they can choose to purchase, or they can do a performance-based back-end option. That's really their choice. Now with the membership, let me back up a little bit. When you sign up with us after you've been pre-qualified, right? Now you're deciding, do I want to buy the membership up front or do I want to do a performance-based? Well, once you choose that, you signed up now. Now you're a client. We'll get on the phone with you and do another call with you, a more in-depth consultation review. We'll go over your credit report. We'll go over the banks that we plan to target. We'll go over everything with you. If we're going to set up an entity for you, we'll discuss that as well, because we do that for our clients. If clients don't have an entity set up, we'll handle that for you, and you won't have to pay anything extra for that. You just have to pay the registration fee or the state filing fee if we're going to set up an LLC. So on that initial consultation call, we'll go over all that. We'll go over your credit. We'll go over the amount that you're going to receive. We'll give you a real clear pre-qualification estimate. And interacting with our team, you'll see that, we really care about our clients. We really make sure that we follow up. We stay in communication. We answer calls. We really provide a high-end service, and everything we do, we're very integrity driven. And that's why we have such a great reputation. We have over 500 reviews on a lot of the platforms because of this high-end service, because we've trained our team so well, and we've grown very quickly, but we've really got a really good group of people here who really care about our clients. So follow-up communication is always on point. You get your consultation done, and then once your consultation's done, we do the credit review, we give you your pre-qualification amount, and then we move you to the applications phase. We submit applications, we follow up, we speak with the decision makers. We have relationships with a lot of these lenders that we work with because we've been in this business for over 10 years. So we do all the legwork, we apply, we get you approved to the largest amount possible. Because a lot of times, I know I keep talking, but I just want to get this, there's a lot of info, and I just want to get it all out as quickly as possible. A lot of times when you apply on your own, or even when we apply, the bank isn't always going to approve right away. Sometimes they deny it in the beginning. Sometimes they approve for a small amount. So we've developed what we call the negotiations process, and we've incentivized our team members here who are in contact with our contacts at each bank, and they're negotiating. They're going over each application one by one with a human being, and that's a big difference compared to just submitting it through the online automated system, which is going to just computer generate a response. Having it reviewed by a human being gets you the best results, and that's what we carry out. And I've seen people get approved for 10,000 after the negotiations process. They have 50,000 because of the increasing, because of the overturns of the denial. Sometimes they're denied, we get it overturned. So that's kind of how it works in the beginning. You maybe opt in, you give us your credit score, we call you, we do a call and introduce you to everything, give you the pre-qualification amount, and then you would sign up and then do another consult call, more in-depth credit review, the whole plan of action. We'll give you a funding plan in a PDF form, so you'll have a real clear idea of what's going on with your credit, what needs to be updated, if anything's inaccurate. Sometimes your credit limits don't report accurately, and sometimes they'll show up as a 0. And then anytime you put a balance on that card, you're over the balance. So there's things like that. There's also like the months reviewed field on a credit report. Sometimes the months reviewed field doesn't report correctly, which then makes your credit score come down, basically, because by having let me try to explain this better. So let's say you had an account open for 10 years, but the months reviewed field is only showing 10 months reviewed, but it's open for 10 years. Now that's going to cause a remark to show up, or a negative code to say you have too many new accounts. So that's going to affect your score, and it's going to bring your score down. So these are some of the details that we'll look for on your credit report when we go over it with a fine-tooth comb. We'll give you the funding plan in a PDF form. You'll have a plan of action. So whether you decide to stick with the program and move forward to applications, or you decide, you know what, I want to wait, or I want to do this on my own, whatever the case is, then you can always exercise the 60-day refund period. If anyone signs up, they don't get credit, or they can't get credit, or whatever, they have a 60-day refund period. So that kind of gives you an idea of like the intake process, and then what happens after you're qualified, and then how we handle the legwork on the back end of getting the credit for you.
And I actually experienced your service firsthand. I actually heard from you, heard about Fund and Grow last year, and I was actually very excited to get started to work with you. And I was really amazed at how professional the team was, the service, everything was on point. follow-ups. And I think the part that I like the most is the fact that you guys had a secure website, because like with all the cyber attacks and like the identity thefts, like I was a little bit concerned at the beginning, but everything is uploaded through a secure portal. And then it's actually very structured. So you have calls scheduled on a certain day at a certain time to go over this and that. And then you send follow-up emails and you get the forms filled up and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like a coaching program, so to speak, in a way, to get the best possible out of what the program has to offer, which is to get the largest amount of credit lines approved as possible.
I would say it's not exactly the coaching program. We are a service. We do all of the work for our clients. We don't just tell them how to do it and then they go and do it. And that is how other companies out there work. They will tell the client to call in and follow up and do all that legwork. We do all of it. So while you're going to receive coaching, you're going to learn a lot through the program, we're still going to be the ones doing it all for you.
I actually saw great value in that as well, because I still work a full-time job. So to me, that was definitely a no-brainer. I know I could have just quote unquote taken the information and just do it myself, but I was like, you know what, it's not even worth it. Like I work long hours, so if I can have somebody help me out and get this going, that will be greatly appreciated. So it was a very smooth process. I liked how efficient you guys are. And so funny enough, as I was recording through multiple episodes, I remember you guys and I was like, you know what, maybe I should just do an episode on Fund and Grow, because everyone will find it highly beneficial. I've gotten great feedback from the episode on funding through credit cards and how you can actually leverage credit cards for your real estate investments, and getting it approved by the bulks into large sums, and also going onto an LLC and not so much on your personal credit. I think that's actually even more beneficial, because next thing you know, you don't want your credit to look like a roller coaster like mine.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about that, but that's a big benefit to using business credit, is that it doesn't show up on your personal credit report. And I probably should have brought this up earlier, because that's really like one of the biggest, most attractive benefits about using business credit, is that if you buy, let's say you buy a house for $60,000 or whatever. Now, if you use personal credit, it would show up on your personal credit. But if you use business credit, it literally will not, the balance that you carry will not count against your personal score. So that's why it's so attractive to business owners, investors, because you could still have a high 800 score and have $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in debt, but still have a really high credit score and still be able to get loans and all those types of things, because the debt that you're carrying is on the business credit side and it doesn't count against your personal credit the same way. So that's a big attractive benefit. Also, the accounts come with zero interest. On average, they're usually like 12,
Yeah.
but some of them are less. Some of them are as short as 6 months. And then we have a personal offer that's 21 months, and our highest business offer is 15 months. So it varies each bank. You know, you're going to get some that are 12, one or two that's 6 or 9, one that's 15 if you qualify. And then, you know, you'll get that funding within the first 30 days of working with us. And then we repeat that process of applying and getting you funding. We repeat that process usually 3 times, up to 4 times over the 12-month membership that we work with our clients. And a lot of people get over 250,000 over that 12-month period. But in the first 30 days, on average, it's usually like right around 30,000 to 75,000. And it's hard to give like, you know, one number.
Yeah, everything varies on a case-by-case basis, right?
Say that again?
Everything varies on a case-by-case basis, I suppose.
Well, everything that we apply for, we only apply for zero interest accounts. So it is a case-by-case thing. Some people might have a more difficult time to get approved for the 15-month offer. But the thing is, we don't apply for people unless we know they're going to get approved.
Right. So we were actually talking about this earlier, that you actually have a qualification process because you want to make sure everyone is getting the best service and the highest approval rate as possible. So like if you had someone who wouldn't qualify, you wouldn't typically want to waste their time and not even your time as well in the company, because those resources can be allocated to other people who actually need the help.
And yeah, you know, we have a lot of clients who go through the program, get credit right away. And then we also have some clients who we will advise, hey, it's really best if we wait a couple months, or it's really best if we pay down a couple grand. so that we fall into that threshold the banks want to see. And in some cases, if a client has like new accounts, in fact, I think this is exactly the scenario that you went through, Lucilia, as a client. You basically were advised by our team that it would be best to wait before we apply.
Yes, yes. And in fact, I remember that happening because I just reached out to you guys in Fund and Grow like weeks after I closed my last deal, the 17 unit. And basically my score looked like something like this. It was like very still, and all of a sudden like a bunch of inquiries. It was like it was like a roller coaster. And so the accounts weren't really seasoned. A lot of the credit cards were recently new, so there was not much to report on me other than like a bunch of inquiries. And because I closed those deals on an LLC, there was no way to kind of like verify, okay, well, this person does have the money to pay down these credit cards. And so, I mean, time-wise, you guys advised me that it was best to just simply wait and give it a couple of months so it can season. And I really appreciated that because I thought I was going to have to put up a fight and like, hey, give me my money back and stuff like that. But you guys were very professional, and that's why we're here, because I really, really value that.
Yeah, we don't ever hold someone's money hostage like that. We've dealt with a lot of businesses, and we've had different experiences with the businesses that we've dealt with, right? And we want to deliver a service that is kind of what everybody wants. It's what they are trying to get when they buy the thing, when they buy the Fund and Grow program. We want to really deliver at a high end and a high level. So, that comes from just having integrity and actually caring and actually wanting to deliver on what we say. Mm-hmm. And so having dealt with other businesses that maybe didn't perform that well, or some businesses performed really well, we've kind of taken those principles that we found over the years and instilled them into Fund and Grow. And, honesty, transparency, integrity, care, that's how we operate. And it really makes things a lot easier. Like, we can grow so much faster. There's no complaints. We have nothing but positive raving reviews online.
I actually checked on all of them before reaching out to you because I was a little nervous, but like it was all love and happiness, and I was like, oh my God, like, is this really true?
Yeah, I mean, you'll see some reviews where people are like, yeah, I got 25,000. I was hoping I would get more, but it's just my first round, and we're going to be applying again in a few months. So there's tons of happy clients. We have a very low refund rate. So like 95% of our clients, sometimes more than that, but 95% of our clients stick with the program. And another interesting fact is a good 20 to 25% of clients who sign up start out with bad credit. But they know that we have that credit repair solution, and we can help them repair their credit. In some cases, some clients need to wait for new accounts to season, just like in your case. Mm-hmm. So we'll advise people on that. On the consultation call, we're going to go over the credit report. We're going to give you the exact plan. We're not going to say, oh, yeah, you might qualify. Let's just string you along a few more weeks, and hopefully we'll get past that 60 days and keep your money. Not at all. It's not what's going on here, because if we do that, we'll have chargebacks, and we'll have people going online and complaining and damaging our reputation. And we don't work like that. We care. So yeah, we'll advise everybody, what's the right thing to do. Based on our experience, we think we can get you 40 to 50,000 in the first 30 days, and over the next 12 months, X amount. And we'll be very upfront with you. And, you'll see that working with us. We're very upfront and open.
Right. Honesty is key. And actually, I appreciated that. And I'm sure a lot of the viewers, when they get in touch with you, they'll definitely appreciate that. Just out of curiosity, I remember when I first called you guys, for those who apply for the membership, you had kind of like special lodgings or like settings where like if people travel to Florida, they'll have a place to stay. Is that still on?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a nice little perk. It's kind of off topic, but it's part of our newsletter program. So if you stay in the newsletter for 12 months, if you subscribe to the newsletter, you get a free 7-day vacation stay. We'll book it for you. You don't have to pay anything. We'll do the whole thing for you. And we have clients going all over the country and all different places. So the newsletter program is just like an informational newsletter with a lot of really high level stuff in it. Like we put some we put the newsletter together based on some of the practices that we are following here at Fund and Grow. So the way that we're growing the business, the way that we're getting up to 10 million a year, the way that, we work together with affiliates, the way we do, webinar presentations, and then much more than that too, though, not just, what we do, but also like tax saving articles and, different business building tips and just all kinds of stuff we cover in the newsletter, and it's really good stuff.
Thanks, Mike. That was actually very informative. And so another question for those clients who already have the legal entity set up, like they have an LLC, how do they go about it? Do you still set something new for them? Do you use what they currently have? How does that work?
On the consultation call, we're going to go over your existing business entity. We're going to talk about the idea of setting up a new lendable entity if that's a fit. But if you've already got an LLC or something set up, we most likely can just use that. Now, if you don't have anything set up yet, we'll set up a tax ID for you, and we'll go as far as setting up an LLC for you as well, so that you can, have a limit of liability and run your cash flow through the LLC. So, it really just depends on the client. If they have an existing entity, we can use that in most cases. If not, we'll evaluate that on the consultation call, and we'll let them know, hey, we can just set up a new tax ID for you, which actually it's going to be a sole proprietorship. And the reason we do that is because it's the easiest way to get your entity set up. You get a tax ID, and you're able to set it up in business management or marketing and advertising. Those are two really lendable industries. Again, this is only if someone doesn't have any entity set up. This is how the process works, and we do this for tons of clients that don't have an entity set up. We'll set up a sole proprietorship. And the cool thing about that is you can actually, it asks you how many years of industry experience do you have, and you put in 2, 3, however many years that you've been in real estate. You just haven't set up your entity yet. So you're able to show that when you set this sole proprietorship up, that you've been in, in the industry for 1, 2 years, whatever. Now, the cool thing is that it reports to your tax ID. The business credit reports to the tax ID. It doesn't report to your social. So that's the reason we need to set that up. That's really it. Other than that, it's all credit based. So they're going to look at your credit regardless of the type of entity you have. So if you apply with an LLC, C Corp, S Corp, or a sole proprietorship, it doesn't matter because it's still personally guaranteed. Yeah, it sucks, but it is. They're going to look at your personal credit. Greatly enough, though, it's not going to report onto your personal credit. So that's how it works. The cool thing is, though, there's no collateral. There's no asset tied to it. So it's not a secured loan. It's an unsecured loan, and it's just credit based. And you don't have to provide a litany of documents. You don't need verifications. You don't need financials, all this stuff. It's a super easy application process, mostly done through the computer, but we take it a step further and we get on the phone and get that application reviewed by a human being, which really brings in a lot more credit.
Right. And that sounds great. So thank you for sharing. I want to make one point clarifying, though, because I did have an episode on legal entities. And so the guest that I have on site she shared her views on sole proprietorships versus LLC. So I wanted to make it clear the reason why there was a preference more towards LLC on my guest's side was because she was focused solely on real estate. So if you were to hold a rental or any type of property, real estate related, you want to hold it in an LLC. But in this case, the reason why a sole proprietorship works more effectively was because of the reasons that Mike just shared. So I wanted to make sure everyone is clear on that.
Yeah, we're not using the sole proprietorship as your main business entity. That's only for people who don't have an entity. We get that tax ID, and then we can get you business credit right away. We don't have to, wait 2 years for the LLC to season. So if you're really doing business, if you're holding rentals, definitely set up an LLC.
Right.
And we'll do that for all of our clients, by the way. I have an attorney who I've developed a relationship with, and he knows like all about like trusts and series LLCs and all that like high level stuff. But his team will set up an LLC completely free for you. You just pay the registered agent. Is that what they call it? Or
the registered agent.
I'm not an entity pro, but I am.
Oh yeah, we did talk about the registered agent, and actually somebody sent me an email asking how do I go about setting one up. So if you're watching this episode, hey, you already have a team who's willing to help you set it up all for free, all included in the package.
I didn't even set my own up either, even though they say it's so easy. but I do real estate on the side as well. Not quite as experienced as you, but I've got a rental property and I've done some wholesale deals sold to other investors. So I've just set up an LLC through the free LLC program.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I guess in terms of experience, it's all relative, right? There are other people who are doing a lot more deals than I am, but we're here to just share our knowledge, share what we know, and hopefully help a lot of people who are actually tuning in right now. And so for those naysayers, right? Like, because we do get those from time to time. Hey, I don't need this program. I can do it myself. Yada yada. What would you say to them? How would you address their commentaries?
Well, I would say you can also learn how to do the closing paperwork, right? When you buy a deal, you can either go to a closing company, pay the closing costs, they handle the paperwork. There's some investors out there, maybe 1 out of 100, who will do their own closing paperwork to save the money on the closing costs.
Painful.
Yeah, that's a whole business right there. Like someone owns a business that does that, and you're like trying to learn how to do it. So, that's just an example, right? So you could do it on your own. Anyone can apply for credit on their own, obviously. The point is that we have relationships at the bank that we're able to bring in a lot more credit than the average person. The average person applies, they get a decision, and that's the decision, and that's it. No, most people don't realize the amount of extra funding you can get if you do more than just accept a decision. So I would say people could get good results on their own. It's difficult. You have to make sure you get in contact with an actual decision maker, which could end up leaving you sitting on hold for 30 minutes only to get routed back to the original customer service line. So yeah, it's a pain in the butt. And, our team is monetarily incentivized to get the largest credit line approved. They get paid, commissions based on that. And these people are like ex-bankers. They used to work at Chase. Some of them used to work in the insurance industry or whatever. My point is, these are professionals who are communicating with our contacts who we have relationships with, we speak with every day. We do 8 to 10 million every month in new credit that we originate. So we have roughly 200 new clients that sign up with us every single month. 200 new clients that pay anywhere from $3,500 to $4,000. Now, if you guys are interested in this, you could do it on your own, or you can go and go to the link and register, and there'll be a video. And then also we'll give you a call and we'll let you know how much you pre-qualify for. But after you register, you'll be able to watch a video, and then you'll get access to the webinar. And in the webinar, Lucilia and I will go over the entire process, break down the whole entire thing, so that after watching that webinar, you know exactly what we do, and you can go and do it on your own. But again, time is money, and if you work with a professional, you get the best results. I wouldn't want to change the motor in my BMW if it blew. I would have to pay the $5,000 to the mechanic, which, by the way, I was just told recently that my motor was blown, and then I brought it to another shop and they told me that it was just spark plugs. So this other shop tried to rip me off for like 15 grand. It's totally off topic, but
sorry to hear.
Yeah, you want to always deal with the true professionals.
Correct.
And that's what we do. We've been here for 10 years. We've done over 500 million. We're just, we're here to help people. We have over 500 reviews online. We're on the Inc. 5000 list the last 3 years in a row, growing steadily. So.
Yes, Mike. So definitely time is money. And hey, you guys are doing all the heavy lifting for them and guiding everyone to this whole process, which can sometimes be daunting, but you guys make it so easy on whoever is applying. And so for those who are actually interested, there's a link down below where you can actually get in touch with Fund and Grow. And I was able to negotiate a discount of $500 for the membership for those who decide to move forward with the program. Right, Mike?
Yep, that's right. So make sure you guys register directly through the link that you're seeing here on this page. Don't go directly to the website, because if you go directly to the website, you're going to see a $500 higher price tag. So.
Right. Okay, so I guess that's basically it. Is there anything else you would like to add to this interview, or?
No, I'd just say that we work with a lot of real estate investors, a lot of landlords. That tends to be our primary client. real estate flippers, landlords that are buying rental properties. So I'd say if that's you, we could definitely help you out. You should definitely go register. You're going to get access to a video that talks a little bit about hard money versus business credit. And then after that, you'll get a phone call, and we'll give you a call and let you know what you pre-qualify for as well. Um, One of the other things that I was just thinking was, if you want to do this on your own, you could definitely do that. And getting access to that webinar is really going to give you the breakdown, step-by-step process. But if you're an investor, if you're doing deals, if you're a landlord, keep that in mind. It's going to take a lot of time, and we can definitely carry it all out for you guys. So yeah, you're going to get access to some videos, register, and we'll give you a call.
All right. And yes, to Mike's point, again, time is money. If you're managing a big portfolio, even one or two rentals per se, that takes time away from you. So why would you want to take more time away from your busy schedule and do something that you're not that familiar with? Just let the professionals handle it, and you focus on what you do best, which is to continue to expand your real estate portfolio.
I just had one thing I thought about. I always talk about this. Hard money loans versus using credit. Hard money loans can be 12% interest with 2 to 3 points. So it could cost 15,000 if you do the math. 100,000 plus 12% interest plus 2 or 3 points on the 100 grand is 15,000. Versus using Fund and Grow, which costs you half of that. Literally, it'll cost you half of that after you send a wire transfer to the closing company to buy your real estate deal as a cash deal, which I just interviewed a client on. You can literally send a wire transfer from the credit line to the closing company and close on a cash deal, and do it for half the price that you would normally have to do it with a hard money lender, who, with a hard money lender, they have to approve your deal. You can't just use the credit however you want. You have to get it approved. The numbers have to make a lot of sense to get those types of deals approved on a hard money loan. But with a business credit, you can buy a rental property. Let's say you get 80,000 going through the program. You can go and buy a lower market rental property, all with the credit line. All done completely through our service. We facilitate the whole thing. There's no guesswork. It's seamless. It's super easy to close on a property like that. So I would say, any investor, any landlord on the call, this is a good tool to have in your belt. Even if you're still using hard money, even if you're a cash buyer, it makes sense to have this. And Lucilia, I don't know if you really touched on this that much, but you were telling me on the phone earlier that you spend a lot of money on like property management, and you will pay that through a credit card.
That was the point I wanted to add next, is that, yes, we were talking about that earlier, about my early days leveraging credit cards for real estate. So you use a service called Plastic. I use Plastic as well. And in fact, I pay most of my property managers through Plastic. So I do get the rent. I have some companies who take the property management fees directly from the rent, but some others, they just invoice me every quarter, I believe. And every time I get the invoice, I'll just simply go through Plastic and I use the credit card. To me, 2-3% for a fee, I will pay that because it's keeping more cash in my pocket today, so I continue to expand my real estate portfolio. And I would just simply use whatever credit line I have available. And some of them, even though they're 0%, some of them might also give you sign-up bonuses as well. So it's kind of like a no-brainer, because the sign-up bonuses will compensate for the fee that I wind up paying.
The rewards. A lot of them will give you cash back every quarter. You're getting a couple grand back. Sometimes it's free travel. We just traveled first class, didn't have to pay for it. So
yes.
There's a lot of perks to just using the credit. And like you said, you want to keep building that cash as much as possible and leverage yourself. I know a lot of guys who are buying a bunch of apartment buildings, and it sounds like you're doing the same thing. And they will put like a percentage of money down on the property, and then they'll rehab it and increase the value, and then they'll be able to pull cash out. So this is what like the bigger players are doing too. This is just on a smaller level with using credit. You want to leverage, build that cash flow up as much as possible. Leverage, obviously don't over leverage yourself, but extend yourself so that you can grow. That's the way to do it. You got to have that amount of capital available so that you can get to the next deal. You don't need to be worrying about pinching pennies in the short term. You're trying to build that portfolio. So yeah, I see a lot of bigger players doing that exact thing. They're not buying the whole apartment complex. They put down a percentage, they get the property rehabbed, and they get it tenanted at a higher income level or rent level. and then they're able to pull cash out and repeat the process and continue buying more.
Right. The whole key for real estate investing is to put as little as your own cash as possible. So that's a lot. I actually did a lot of it in the beginning. I leveraged whatever credit cards I had available just to get enough money to put for the down payment, enough to cover the closing costs. Sometimes I will even ask the title companies if it was okay for me to mail them the check, and I'll literally would just go into plastic, like put a copy of the invoice, just send the check, process the credit card, and within like a few days they will get the check in their mail. And it was priceless to me. Like there's no words to even describe the satisfaction. And then whatever cash I had handy, I used that to continue to grow and build the portfolio to what it is today.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And we have tons of clients doing the exact same thing. Some of them are buying properties, sending the wire to the closing companies. Some are covering expenses. There's just a litany of things you can do. But yeah, I think that's a really great way to use plastic, not only to buy a property, but to cover expenses using plastic. Even though it seems like, why would I want to pay that extra 2.75%? In some cases, it really makes sense. You can get the rewards points, and at the same time, you hold as much cash as possible so you can keep going and buying more and building out.
All right, Mike. So thanks a lot for sharing with us. That was actually very informative. So for those who are actually ready to move on to the next level and get all of that credit line available for you, here's a link down in the description box below. Make sure you click on it so that way you can take advantage of the $500 discount on the membership. And Mike will make sure, and his team will make sure they'll walk you through the entire process so you can continue to expand your real estate portfolio. So that's everything for today. And thank you again for joining. And thank you, Mike, for joining on the call. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Okay, so that was all we had from our interview with Mike Banks, a COO of Fund and Grow. And hopefully you guys found the information very valuable. As he said, there's a link down in the description box below, so feel free to reach out to him and his team, and they'll be more than gladly to help you out. And you also get a discount of $500 that I was able to negotiate with them. And as usual, if you know someone who's going to find this video beneficial, the information that we share here beneficial to their real estate endeavors, feel free to share the love by sharing this video or the link to this video. And as usual, don't forget to hit the like or the subscribe button. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.